Check.
Check. 1, 2. Here we are.
All right, you want to run this guy back?
Yeah, let's do it.
Intro, take two.
Intro, take two.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the Jameson on the Rocks podcast. Today I have with me the one, the only, Mr. Alex Scales. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. What's up, everybody? Glad to be here.
What's up, everybody, again? Yeah, man.
Right?
Thanks for coming in, dude. I'm glad you could cut some time out for me today. Been looking forward to this. You weren't able. I think you might have been like working on school or something. It was like midterm season when the fun room one happened, right?
Yeah, I was in class. I was real busy during that time.
I remember that.
I wasn't able to make it.
Somebody, I think maybe it was Ike. He's like Scales wanted to come real bad, but he was grinding, man. He's working today on midterm stuff. I was like, oh, dang, next time.
Couldn't slip away,
man.
That's how it goes sometimes.
That's how it be, man. But we got you in here now. This might be better. You know, we can talk about you as a whole. You know, we'd had to. Not that talking about fun room is bad. We're gonna do that anyways. Yeah. But like, you know, now we can do just you, which I'm excited about.
Sounds good.
Yeah, man. I've had a few drummers on, which is always interesting to me because it's just different. You know, like it's a different mindset, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to digging into that with you. So just kind of like, let's get the origin story on it. Like, kind of when did you start playing the drums? What was interesting about them? Anything influence wise that appealed to you?
Yeah. So I started playing drums in elementary school, 4th grade band.
Way back.
Just concert band.
Yeah.
I got started because my dad had told me he had played drums in his church.
Yeah.
And I was like, that seems fun.
Yeah.
So hopped in concert band, started just literally just playing snare drum and then did that through.
So would that be marching or just concert stuff?
No, it was just concert stuff. I did concert stuff all the way through middle school.
Word.
And then when I got into high school, that's when I hit the marching real hard.
Yeah.
And I was taking private lessons all throughout that time because I would always, I mean, I'm not trying to like toot my own horn, but I would always progress faster than everybody else for some reason.
Gotcha.
And I would just want something else to be better at. And so my parents got me private lessons with concert stuff or whatever.
So was it like an immediate love kind of thing for you? Was it like, all right, I'm about to be a drummer, like when you were in 4th grade? Or was it like, oh, I like to do this?
Not really, because at the time in like middle school and elementary school, I was also like running track pretty competitively as well.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And so I was doing both of those, and I was like, I'm good at both.
Yeah.
I enjoy drumming more,
uh-huh.
But I was like good at both. But I still did it. When I got into high school, I was like, all right, no, I'm not gonna run anymore. I just got bored with it. I was like, I don't want to do this
just over it.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So did the drumming, got into marching band, and that's where things really took off.
Really?
Yeah.
What about that like was different? Was it
everybody was better than me.
Ooh, okay. That's good.
So I had something to strive towards.
Yeah.
And I was introduced into the world of DCI and WGI, so competitive marching band and like indoor drum line.
Real deal stuff, right?
Yeah, and I saw drummers that I never seen. The chops that I saw in some of these guys, I was like, oh my gosh. And I initially auditioned for snare drum. I got on top bass drum. Okay. They moved me winter of my freshman year onto tenors.
Tenors, which would that be?
The big 4 drums that are on a big metal frame.
Yeah.
So I initially got started on that, and just it was rough at first.
Yeah,
because I couldn't carry the things. I was a twig. I remember my first rehearsal. I wore those drums, and I like bent over in a break or something just to stretch my back because my lower back was just killing me.
Just roaring.
And I got stuck. Bent over.
No.
And I was like, my instructor was like, all right, ready, let's go. One of us at ease, ready to go, ready for the next set or whatever. And I was like, I can't stand up right now. And everybody on the drum line just started laughing at me.
No way, man.
I mean, I'm a skinny guy, but I was even smaller then in freshman in high school.
Yeah.
So it was bad.
And
but
at this time, though, are you playing any kit stuff? Like none, right?
No. Me playing kit is actually an interesting story.
Yeah. Tell me.
Played throughout high school, and at that time, I did not want to play drum set.
Really?
At all. I had learned a little bit in elementary or middle school. I got some set lessons. I had a kit or whatever, but I like packed it away in high school. Never played it.
That's weird, man.
Well, I saw so many bad drum set players.
Still seeing some of them.
Right. But like it was boring to me because I didn't see anything interesting, and I didn't understand what the drum set could be at the time.
Yeah.
Everything like super creative on drums, I saw in like marching band aspect, there was like this performative aspect and lots of different chops and like ways of playing that I was like, I like this way more than anything that I've seen. It was a super naive opinion. Don't get me wrong.
Well, it's just growth, like, you know what I mean?
Right.
Getting you where you're going.
From what I was seeing at that time, I was like, the concert band stuff and the marching stuff that I'm seeing is way cooler than any drum set stuff that I'm seeing. And I was like, if that's what drum sets like, I don't want to have anything to do with it.
Not interested?
Yeah, I was just not interested. And that was my mindset all the way into starting undergrad.
Really?
Yeah.
So you've only been really playing kit for, would it be 5 years now or 4?
I've been
you've been playing kit, but like
2018.
That's not long, man. No. That's crazy. What was the transition like, though, when you do get there? Because, like, you get pretty used to not playing one drum, I guess, because you have the 4 in front of you or just a snare. But, like, I guess you're a little more focused on playing with everybody in the band, right? Like, marching-wise?
So, I've always been used to, like, playing with a group and, like, being a part of a cohesive thing. But my playing style was always following other people.
Gotcha.
So, like, as tenors, you were trained, if you're on the outside of the line, to listen in towards the center snare. And like, even if you're the center quad player, you're responsible for time, but you also got to make sure you're listening inner. And then the same with the concert band. You're looking at the conductor. They're the one who's dictating time. You're following them. That's where your time comes from, rather than like drum set where you are the one who's responsible for time. You are leading the band. Granted, everybody's responsible for time. I believe that in the band. But
agreed.
But you know, like when you think of like who's the one who's holding it down and everything, it's your bass player and your drum set player.
Absolutely.
But that was something I had to learn. So I got started my whole freshman year of undergrad. I didn't play drum set at all. I told my
that's not long ago. That's crazy to me.
I know.
Man, you're so good, man.
My percussion instructor, he was like, "Do you want to play drum set?" And I was like, "Honestly, no, I don't want to."
That's so wild. It seems so backwards. You know what I mean? Usually it's the other way around, kind of.
Yeah,
sort of,
my opinion has changed a lot. But so I asked him to join jazz band after a while, and he was firm. Like, he was a big believer on if you can't play, if you don't have the chops to play like really, really good stuff on one drum, like just like your snare drum fundamentals are not there, then I'm not going to put you in jazz band.
Makes sense, yeah.
And so I've been doing lessons with him for like a year and a half at that point, and it was like halfway through my sophomore year that I asked him to be a part of jazz band.
Of college?
Of college.
So it'd be jazz band at UGA or?
So I went to Berry College for undergrad in Rome, Georgia. Yeah. And so I was under John David. That was the percussion director there. And so I asked him to be a part of it, because I'd seen what they were doing, and I was like, this is cool. Like, this is the next level for me. And he brought me in, and I still didn't want to play drum set. But he was like, we're doing a Latin jazz concert, so I want you to learn how to play congas.
Okay.
And that's the big, tall so the hand drums.
The bongos would be shorter version of it.
The bongos are the ones that you put in between your legs, or whatever. Some people put them on the stand, but like traditionally, you'd put them in between your legs, and it's a lot of finger-based stuff. Congas are tall. You hold one in between your legs, and the other one will sit over here if you're playing with two, and it's like more of hand stuff, like your full hand rather than the fingers with the bongos.
Interesting.
But I got started on those, and I loved it.
Really?
Absolutely loved it. In that first Latin jazz concert, they brought in this conga player named Frankie Quinones. And I was able to get a lesson from him about congas and things like that, and I loved congas so
just
much.
Immediately interested in it, kind of.
Yeah, it was just different. I loved the different. Like, I loved Latin jazz. I just completely fell in love with it. It was just such an interesting way of drumming and playing and styles and stuff that I was not exposed to before.
I mean, you kind of are forced to be creative when you only have two things sitting in front of me. You know what I mean?
Right.
Two instruments per se. Or I guess it's one, but you know what I mean?
And the biggest thing that I learned from that lesson with Frankie is that he was like, it's all about the sounds that you get from your instrument. Okay. Because there's like 5 basic sounds that you can get from a conga. And so he's like, you master those 5 sounds, and then you realize there's more in between those sounds, and then you can choose what you do based off of where you use your hand. Yeah. Like, how tense your hand is, you can change the sound that you're getting, and like all this stuff with just honestly, you could just do it with one conga. You don't even need the second one, but like traditionally you would have it, but
for a little flair.
Yeah. So I learned all of that and got super, super interested in that.
Yeah.
And grew to love it. And one thing I saw with conga players is sometimes they would have a cowbell on like their left foot.
Yeah.
And I had a really, really hard time with that, like learning how to do that.
Why was that?
I didn't have the coordination.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So they would do what's called a clave in their like left foot.
Yeah.
And they would play the congas on top of that and like solo over that and just keep that clave going.
So up until then, you didn't have anything to do with the feet usually, right?
Yeah.
Because even the bass is with your hands in band and stuff, right?
Right. The most stuff I would do with my feet was marching band, just left, right, doing the drill or whatever.
About face and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was never having to actually play music with my feet. And I got introduced to that with like congas and stuff. And that was the moment that my professor was like, all right, you can be better at this if you learn drum set. And I was like, fuck. All right, let's do it. And so
let's run it.
Let's do it. Yeah. Like genuinely my drive to play drum set was to be better at congas.
That's crazy. I like that.
And so I was like, all right, let's freaking do this. And so he sat me down. He's like, he gave me this packet of stuff that he wrote called Basic Beats.
Mm-hmm.
And I went through and just had to play all these different rhythms and learn all these different patterns. He gave me a song to learn, Vultures by John Mayer.
I love that song, dude.
That was the first drum set song. He was
really?
Like, yeah, he was like, learn this song.
I feel like that's a really tasty drum song. Like I fucking love that song.
It's so good. Yeah. And at first I listened to it and I was like, well, this is freaking easy. And then I tried to play it and I was like,
that pocket.
There's so much pocket. There's so much nuance.
Yes.
I can't.
Very
how
subtle.
do I get from like this pattern? Because you listen to it and I'm like, oh, it's just a pattern. I can just repeat that. And then I can't.
Gotcha.
Can't repeat what he's doing.
That's fascinating.
And I'm like, how do I get there? And
that's so interesting.
That really started my journey of like, wait a second.
Yeah. There's more here.
There's way more to this.
And was it pretty, not instant, but like pretty soon after, like, you know, you start playing the patterns and you're trying vultures. It's like, oh, this is like, I really like this. Or was it like, took some time?
It took some time.
Yeah. Because you're saying that you're pretty strong against it for a while, you know,
yeah,
I imagine.
Well, I was very, like, it didn't take necessarily much time for my mindset to change. But for me to start to enjoy it, I had to learn. I had to get my chops for it.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Because I had all these chops that I didn't know how to apply to this instrument. Because, you know, I had like marching chops and they were really, really good for that. And I had conga chops as well. And they were really, really good for that. And I had the strength and things to do that, but I had to technically apply it. Like I knew how to play all these rudiments and things like that. But if I just go and play like a paradiddle on a drum set and I don't orchestrate it on my drums correctly, I don't do the dynamics right, it sounds like shit. It doesn't sound good.
It just doesn't.
Right? It's just a dude playing a paradiddle on drums. But if you play it right and nuance it in such a way, and that's what I had to learn. It wasn't
interesting. And that was difficult? Was that difficult?
It was very difficult.
I can see that. I can see
very difficult. But it wasn't so much me having to a lot of my practicing with drum set was done with coordination with my feet.
Okay.
Learning how to separate each one of my limbs and understand, oh, I need to play different things everywhere. Sometimes in different like time signatures and things to get the sounds that I want. And they all need to be still locked in the pocket in their own
That
thing.
seems to be like, I don't know if that's the biggest hurdle, but for me as someone who's trying to learn drums has been like getting everything independent from one another has been to where I'm not like, you know what I mean? Like
it's so hard.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like
it's so hard.
Yeah. I feel like that's the big hurdle of a drum set drummer, right? Maybe one of them.
I think so. That's probably like the biggest technical thing. Because if you have the chops and your ability to play things are there on one drum, it's taking that rudiment or that pattern or whatever and applying it to all of your limbs. That's the hard part. At least for me, it was the very difficult part. And then all the nuance and the feel, that the pocket, that quote unquote pocket that everybody talks about. That for me came from listening.
Okay. How so? What do you mean by that? Like,
so I listened to a lot of really good drummers.
Yeah. We should back up and kind of see who influenced you. You know what I mean? Like, what was kind of getting you into it throughout this whole period? Like, what?
So A lot of jazz.
A lot of jazz? Okay.
A lot of jazz.
Uh-huh.
A lot of Count Basie, Duke Ellington, Miles Davis, Sonny Rollins, Sinatra.
Yeah.
All of these guys and all they did. And then with like in the Latin realm of things, it was like Eddie Palmieri, Pongo Sanchez, Bobby Allende.
If you had to pick a top 3 out of that I should go listen to, could you pick a top 3? Because I want to learn more.
Count Basie's number 1. He's probably like, that's just swing. If you want to know how to swing and play jazz, Count Basie. I would say Duke Ellington right after that, and then Eddie Palmieri, who's Latin.
How do you spell that last one?
Palmri.
Something like that.
R-E-I, something like that.
That'll be enough for me. Thanks, man. Sweet.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look these up because I'm like I have no depth on that genre. You know what I mean? So like I'm curious.
So that's where I got. That's a lot of my listening where that came from, and then it kind of like branched out from there into like jazz fusion sort of thing. So Snarky Puppy, New Jive.
Yeah. Which is just like a little more modern like twist on it, kind of, right?
Yeah,
as time went on.
It's jazz, but not in the sense that you would think jazz. You think jazz and you think like the Spangalang, like super straight up swing.
Yeah.
But then you have like New Jive and Snarky Puppy where there's like jazz elements in their playing, and they're taking a lot of like Snarky Puppy's a big example for this. I love this band so much, so I can talk about them forever.
I'm gonna look them up too. I don't know.
They're amazing, but what they do a lot of the times with their playing is they take a lot of different world rhythms and they incorporate it and like I'll say apply groove, which is a weird way because all music has groove. All good music has groove to an extent, but they'll apply like an American groove to it. So they'll take like say a Latin style of playing and they'll do that Latin style, but maybe add a little bit of a twist to it where they might add a backbeat in there, like a 2 and 4 backbeat, just enough. No, it doesn't like where it doesn't take away from the Latin groove and you're not completely changing it, but you'll do something like that.
You said world rhythms. What do you mean by that?
World rhythms, I just mean anything that's not rock.
Gotcha. Word.
So like your Latin, Tibetan music, your African rhythms, like that kind of stuff.
I get what you mean. Okay, that clears it up. I was just curious. Yeah.
So that's where it kind of branched off into, and hearing a lot of players from that, and then just kind of finding what music I liked.
Yeah,
and
which is tough sometimes,
It is.
To know exactly what you want.
And then appreciating the music I grew up with that didn't appreciate. I grew up with like Michael Jackson and Prince and things like that. And going back to that music with a new like musical mindset.
Appreciation for it.
Yeah. And being like, oh, what they're doing, it feels that good because of like X, Y, Z, and like wanting to emulate that.
So you're kind of like diagnosing it, kind of, right? You're like listening to jazz and everything you listen to and trying to understand why that is that, right?
Yeah.
It seems that's what I at least got the impression was, that like you weren't just listening, you were like listening. You know what I'm saying?
So I'm a big believer there's like 2 kinds of practicing. You have your actual practicing, which is just like you're building chops. You're building your technical ability. You're practicing your lick that you heard in whatever song. That's what you're doing. And then there's your listening practicing, where you're listening to a bunch of players and you're not just like passively, it's in the background while you're driving. Like you're sitting there listening intently, you're pausing it, going back, you're slowing it down, you're trying to understand what that musician was trying to tell you through that instrument.
That's really cool. And I think drummers have to do that more, right? Because you guys, your instrument isn't as available, right? Like I can always just like listen to something and then grab my guitar and try it with the radio. But you guys can or whatever, but you know what I mean? Like you can't play your kit every day or whatever.
Right. I mean, you can do that. I'm a firm believer that just like everybody needs to listen to that instrument, because you can put things on a guitar tab and learn it. You can put things on a page and staff or whatever. Yeah. And it's on the page, but what's on the page might not be what's actually being played.
Exactly, yeah.
Because you can't put feel on a page. Yeah, you can't transcribe feel.
So you kind of stopped reading music at some point, I imagine, right? After the marching band thing, right? Like,
oh, I still did. In jazz band, you read it a lot, but like you get a jazz chart for a drummer and it's just the form, essentially. It's just the staff with a bunch of slashes through it, and there might be a few hits where the band is going to be hits. So you got to
like
hit
a guideline.
Those. Yeah, it's essentially
you
got to
put the feel in it.
Exactly.
Okay, sweet.
And it'll say at the top like medium swing, or it'll give you a tempo and whatever style, like 6/8, whatever or something. And so it'll tell you that at the top, and it'll have the form. And so I kind of had to learn. A lot of my practicing was going in with my chart, sitting with my chart, listening to the track on like Spotify, YouTube, wherever I could find it, quite frankly, because sometimes you'd have to look otherwhere. And then with a pencil and going through and making notes of like, oh, this drummer did this. Okay, I'm going to mark that he did that there. I might not do that, but I'm going to put it that it's a possibility of something that I could do.
In the catalog.
Yeah, because I mean, a lot, when my professor told me, he's like, go and learn other people's vocabulary and do that.
Yeah.
But then that's just vocabulary for you to know. You don't always have to do that.
It's another tool in the toolbox.
Right. It's just like you're learning a language. Music is a language. So you have to get words and phrases and learn how to put those in the sentences and communicate those. And for a while, you're just going to be repeating what other people have done before you. But eventually, you're going to get to the point where you can form your own sentences. And when you play, it sounds like you. It doesn't sound like Larnell Lewis or Buddy Rich or somebody that you've listened to. It sounds like Alex Gales.
Yes, and you kind of have to emulate to get there, right?
Yeah,
for sure. I mean, obviously,
everybody has to.
Yeah,
you got to start somewhere.
You have to. So that's so interesting, man. And it's easier said than done, right?
Oh yeah,
yeah. It's like, oh, I can't wait to one day I'll be in a band and I'll be doing something completely new. It's like it's gonna be tougher than you think. You know what I mean? To do something completely new, like it's just it gives you a real perspective on like the. You know, whatever was new back in the day. It's like, wow, that was really innovative. You know what I'm saying? And I think it's wild that you, like, almost everything you're saying is kind of backwards from the normal guest on the show, which is cool, by the way. You know, like the normal or the average person in the band in Athens, you know, they like grew up listening to rock. They're like, oh, I want to be in a big rock band one day. So you didn't have any of that, right? You just wanted to play.
Yeah.
Kind of?
I listened to music, obviously, as we all do, but it wasn't like I heard something in a song and I was like, I want to do this. It was like, oh, my dad did this. This would be kind of cool.
Yeah. Interesting.
And then my progression has been a lot of up and down, and I want to do some. A lot of it's like, I want to do something different than what everybody else is doing. You know, I want to be good at something unique. And I think I had always been looking for, I mean, I look back on it now, I've always been looking for like wanting to stick out in whatever I was doing.
Yeah, to be like, original kind of stuff. Yeah,
to be original and to bring some kind of something that was different than what the next person next to me was doing.
Yeah, I feel like that's super noble. Like I think that's a good goal everybody should have, right?
Yeah, you know? I really wanted that individual sound, that individual look or whatever, because I think with marching band, I kind of found that because I realized I was like, oh, in like indoor drumline, it's very theatrical. Like, you're playing with your entire body.
Yeah.
So like I'm playing these notes and doing all these things, but like I need to add some like thing here. I need to move with it. I need to do facial expressions with what I'm playing. I need to show the audience why they should care about what they're hearing right now. Because your average audience isn't going to know all the technical crazy shit that you're doing. They're not going to care about that. No one cares. But when you're playing that crazy stuff and you're making a face to it and your body's into it and your whole body is playing that, they see that and they're like, oh yeah. But then your like drummer is like, oh, that's cool. He's into it that much. And I also know what he's doing. So you're appealing to the both those parties. Crowds.
It's like you're selling it, I guess.
Yeah, you're selling it. Exactly.
And it's tougher for you guys to do that, obviously, behind the kit because you can't really move, can't leave that spot, right? So was that a good thing for you? Because like you were used to moving around and walking while you were playing. Was like when you got to sit down on the kit, was that an interesting transition? I don't know if that question makes sense.
No, that makes sense.
Kind of.
So I think, my mindset on this changed interestingly enough. So when I was in high school, I went to Passon City Church, which was in Atlanta.
It's a big church, right?
Yeah, really huge, big church in Buckhead. And they had a worship conference there. And I had always hated playing worship music in church.
Yeah.
I still don't enjoy it.
Not for you.
It's just because it's boring to me. That's all.
Gotcha.
But what this guy said completely changed how I started playing tenors and then it's translated into everything else that I played from there. It was an instrumentalist session because you go to a church and you see the worship leader and they're just like up there up front and you can see them like worshiping and doing their whole thing or whatever. It's out there, way easier for you to see. But then you have like the other instrumentalists, they're just standing there playing through the parts or whatever.
Yes.
And essentially the whole talk was about how can you like worship through your instrument if you're not the guy singing.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And so I don't know if this makes sense. If you haven't grown up in churches, I guess it's kind of hard to wrap your mind around. But essentially, the dude was like, play in such a way that you're not doing it necessarily for yourself, and that like you're playing as like an act of worship to God and things like that.
Yeah.
That
makes
was
sense.
that
makes sense.
That completely changed how I approached my instrument because I stopped doing it really for myself.
That's hard.
And which is like a really hard thing to remove yourself from because you work so hard, you do all these things. But it was like realizing it was like, oh yeah, I wouldn't have this talent unless it was like built into me and like I was given this gift to develop this and I'm going to work hard and develop it because it was given to me and then I'm going to give it back into an act of worship. And that took away all the pressure as well of like having to be perfect all the time.
Gotcha.
And that was like another thing that was hard to get out of because in high school they expect you to be perfect. In marching band, they're like everything needs to be perfect all the time. You can't make a mistake. You get into jazz and there's like, oh yeah, well, a mistake could be something cool that you play later on.
Yeah.
Something you didn't mean to play can become this sweet little idea that you can turn into a solo or something like that.
That's wild.
So a lot of like that mind shift and like taking it off myself and being like, okay, I'm doing this to like worship because I was given this talent and develop it and that sort of thing. And that kind of like changed why I play. And that allowed me to be more free in my playing. And when I did that, I started noticing people being like, dude, I don't know what you did. Like, but I noticed you were just so much more into that music. Yeah. And I saw that and I like loved that. And I was like, wow, okay, this is like something interesting and different that I didn't see before.
Is it kind of like though, like, I guess I'm trying to fully understand it. That makes a lot of sense. But like when you say that you're not doing it for yourself, does that mean you're doing it for the audience or for the act of doing it? Does that make sense?
Yeah. So like when I say I'm not doing it for myself, it's more so
it's a tricky thing.
I'm not doing it necessarily for the audience either. I'm doing it for like the glory of God in my mind.
Like doing it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Interesting. And I know what you're talking about too, because like sometimes you just get up there and you have to like turn something on. It's like something clicks when you're up there and it's like, all right, got to make sure everybody has a good time and make sure I have a good time kind of stuff.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Because I know myself, if I'm doing it for myself and I'm trying to be like perfect and technical, I start thinking about it too much and I start overthinking everything that I'm playing. Yeah. Which granted, there's a place for thinking about it and really getting whatever. But if I'm thinking about things all the time, and especially if I'm playing like a song that's like at 200 beats per minute, I can't think that fast.
Yeah.
There's a point where I just got to let go and I just got to trust my muscle memory and I just got to enjoy what I'm doing.
That was a big revelation for me as like someone who just started to play drums. Is like when I grew up, I thought that like flashy drumming was the most impressive or whatever. But like now I know that it's like it's not. Like the less, the more tasteful it is, the more impressive it is. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like, you know what I mean? Like that's less impressive than like a fucking pocket or something.
Absolutely. Yeah. One of the best. I mean, one of the greatest drummers right now, in my opinion, Questlove. Everybody knows Questlove.
Monster. He's got the thing in his hair all the time.
Yep. The dude is a pocket machine, and you will rarely hear him solo.
Yeah.
But he'll play tasteful fills and he will play pocket. But I would listen to that all day long over like for you drummers listening right now, don't hear me say this and don't at me. But like, I'd rather listen to like that pocket than like a Buddy Rich crazy like 10-minute solo or something like that.
Yeah,
I love Buddy Rich, all the same. He's great.
Yeah,
he's amazing. Best drummer of our time, for greatest drummer probably ever.
Yeah,
but
gotcha.
You like pocket more. Get your booty moving better. So don't at me.
I know exactly what you mean though, because like it kind of ruins it for me. There's a few people that come to mind, and maybe it's just preference, but like I can't stand it when it's like just like a verse and like drummers just like the whole like it bothers me when it's like the verse. Does that make sense? It's
no,
like,
yeah,
bro, chill out. Like let the song like do its thing. So, but,
it's all about servicing the music.
Yeah.
It's not about me. It's not about you. It's
and the same thing could be said about like guitar too. If it's like a verse or whatever, he's like soloing the verse. Like, bro, play the song, and then like worry about that stuff later. Like it's just you know what I mean. You know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
I mean, the song is what we're there to play,
Yeah.
and we're there to do the song justice.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we have a solo, do a solo, and then it's about you during that solo.
Yeah,
and
take it up,
own
soak it
that
up.
solo, soak it up. But when it's time for you to support your buddy next to you, support them and do what you need to do to make them sound the best or make the song sound the best.
I agree, man.
Like if I'm playing a song and all I need to do is play a simple 8th notes on my hi-hat, 1 and 3 on my kick, and 2 and 4 on my snare, and that's all I need to do. Okay, cool. I'm going to play that, and I'm going to support everybody else what they're doing, and I'm going to give them a nice little cushion and couch to sit on so they can do whatever they want, so they don't feel like they have
I'm just going to do it the best I
uneven
can.
ground, you know?
Uneven ground's a good way to put it.
Because everybody knows that feeling. Playing with a drummer or a bass player or another musician, and you're trying to solo over something, and they're just not comfortable with whatever their groove is. It's dicey. I've been there. I've definitely given very, very bad foundations to people before.
We've
all been there.
That's part of the fun.
You learn real quick from that, especially when the soloist is like, dude, I couldn't lock into anything we're playing. You're like, oh, well, time to hit the practice room again. Time to go shed some more.
Time to go put some hours back in. It is funny that like music does that to you. It's one of the things I really like about it. It's like you would think, and we've been playing all these years now, like every night or whatever, and it's like you would think we just have it by now. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like every couple of weeks or a couple of gigs, it's like, damn, I gotta fucking back to the drawing board. You know what I mean? Like, gotta get better. It's crazy.
I was about to say, everybody has those humbling shows.
Yeah, they happen. They happen.
Oh, they happen. They happen.
It's best to just embrace them and get the next one out of the way.
Yes, and I will say those humbling shows are the ones that I come out of, like, I'm going to say mad.
Yeah, mad.
I like myself. But like in a healthy way, not in like a self-deprecating way or anything like that. But like sometimes you got to come out of a show and be like mad with what you did.
I
like,
think so. Yeah,
I'm not happy with the way that I played just then.
Yeah,
and that then motivates you to be like, all right, I want to do better, and not like tear yourself down. Obviously, you don't want to do that. It's
usually like
unhealthy,
a few days of like fuck, like I got to fucking tighten up. Like this can't happen anymore. You know what I mean? It's
you
like,
sit on it, you think what went wrong. You're like, okay,
let
me process this. Let's see what happened. How can then I fix this? What can I then bring to the table? Some of the best gigs that Fun Room has ever had when I play with them is the gig right after a shitty gig.
Oh, those are the nice ones. Cause we're back.
Because one of our worst gigs that I played with them was at Southern Brewing Company. It was awful.
Outside stage.
Jam
for Cam.
Yeah, it was Jam for Cam.
I wanted to come to that.
It was different. I'm glad you didn't. It was shit. It was so bad.
It happens, man.
It was so bad.
Well, what about it though? Let's like see what was wrong with it. You know what I mean? I'm just curious as to like what
we just never locked in that gig.
Yeah,
everybody was like messing up.
Yeah,
and nothing. The groove never locked in. Nothing was cohesive, and we walked away from that gig just disappointed in what we did. We joked. We were like, "All right, Fun Room's breaking up." We like joked about that, but then like after we sat on it and then came back, the next gig, I think like the next gig we played was a Roadhouse gig or something like that. It's one of the best gigs we played because we were upset with what we did before. And
it caused a change.
We were like, we don't want that. We don't want to settle for what we just did because we know we can be better.
You've done it. You've been better. Yeah. That's so interesting, man. I wish there was a way to put a finger on it, but like, they just happen, It's like you think you got it down, you practice everything up, and just like you just can't hit that spot, and it's like technical difficulties or something. Somebody fucks something up. It's like the whole set just doesn't go right, but I think, like you're saying though, those are so important for making the good ones better. If they were all perfect, like I don't think it would be interesting. Kind of, you know what I mean?
Failure motivates you to strive for better.
Yeah,
Because if you're perfect all the time, you have nothing to go for. You know, it's the same thing with like competition. Competition can be healthy, but this is like an internal competition almost.
It is like, with yourself.
Oh yeah, I played a bad gig. Okay, whatever. It happens. You move on. You move forward, and then you play better the next gig, and you figure out how can I then be better. And it's a healthy motivation. It can turn negative, obviously.
if you let it.
Don't let every little mistake happen. Little Bob Ross, happy little mistakes, and become something great.
Something great.
But you know,
I mean, even arena artists this is not a recent revelation, but you know, the past couple of years, I was like, oh, even they have bad nights. Like it doesn't just ever get to where you're perfect, you know. So
right?
That's interesting.
This idea of perfection.
Yeah.
Nobody wants perfection.
Yeah, that's no fun. It's interesting too because like sometimes the shit gigs, like think about when you walked off for Jam for Camp. I bet a few people came up to you guys and were like, "Whoa, that was fucking awesome!" You know, like they don't know. Like we're the only ones that know, and like are like, "Damn, this sucks." But to somebody else, it's their first fun room show, and they're like, "These guys are fucking ripping." You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've definitely done that where I've like walked off the stage and I was like, just personally, like I was like, man, I was just not happy with the way I played stuff. And people be like, dude, that was so good. And I'd be like, really? Were you listening to the same gig? Like, were you listening to the same thing?
I had to stop. I had to try to stop doing that because people come up to us. I'd be like, damn, that was shit. I was like, I just ruined it for them. You know what I mean? Like, just agree with them that it was great. You know? So.
Yeah, I'll just say thank you. And I know what I did. I know what I need to fix
next time. Yeah,
and you just move on. That Jam for Camp was funny because I literally left there and then went to the 40 Watt to play a show with Half Baked Tofu.
Yeah, we got to talk about this band.
Like Half Baked Tofu, and that's when I met Wim Tapley for the first time.
Yeah. You guys opened, right?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, well, tell me about. Let's get into your bands, kind of. We've glanced over them, but like you're man a few bands at this point. But Fun Room, let's start there and kind of like tell me how you got into that band, what the goal was of you joining. Is it rock? Is it considered a rock band? What's the genre definition?
I would say like a jam band.
Jam band?
Yeah.
Okay. And did you have any like aspiration? I mean, I've kind of heard the story of how you joined, but I mean, you weren't looking for a jam band to be in, were you?
No,
not at all.
Abridged version of the Fun Room story for those of y'all who haven't heard it before and haven't listened to the Fun Room podcast, which you should go listen to.
Good listen. Nice plug.
It is a good listen.
Nice plug for everybody there.
Oh, yeah. But essentially, I was like literally just sitting in my room and I looked at I got added into the Jam Ham group meet. This
classic.
was like February of 2021 or something like that. We were just coming out of like the big COVID dead area when it comes to music. Because I got into Athens in August of 2020.
Gotcha.
And I saw that there was, I think it was Ike, he put in the group, he was like, hey, we need a drummer for a gig in like 3 hours. And I saw it and I was like, I've been wanting to get involved with the scene and everything. Hadn't had a chance because
you hadn't done anything in the scene.
I had nothing.
Really?
Because there was no live music really at the time.
Nothing.
No bars were having live music. I was like, I don't know where to go. There were a bunch of private parties, but I didn't know where to go to meet people.
Gotcha.
And I was like, well, here's my opportunity. And so I just texted him. I was like, hey, I can do it. DM'd him. He was like, I was like, what's your set list? Just send me it.
Yeah.
He's like, you sure you can do this? We got like, it's like a 4-hour gig. And I was like, I'm going to try my best. I'm going to do it. So he sent me
bold, man. I mean, I got to give it to you. That's ballsy, bro. Like
I was so nervous.
Were you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because I'd never done anything. Like, I've been sitting in my garage back in Alpharetta with my parents, playing my brand new drum set that I just bought going into COVID. That's all I was doing was practicing and listening to tunes. And I was like, all right, Alex, it's time to do this. Like,
send it.
Nut up or shut up. Like, here we go. And so I got that playlist, and there was like 50 songs.
Damn.
Something ridiculous like that.
And how many did you recognize? A lot or a little?
Like, I recognized like 5.
Out of 50?
I will say, when I joined this band, I didn't know half the songs that we were doing. I had to learn a lot of new music.
Because you weren't really listening to that stuff. No. I mean, you'd mentioned that when we were playing together one time. You're like, I don't listen to any of this. This is wild. I was like, wow. Like, it's just like such a weird, like very cool, you know, that you don't.
I wasn't listening to any of that. I'd heard like some stuff, and I've heard of the Grateful Dead and like Allman Brothers and things like that, but that was not on my everyday listening to list.
You're aware of it, just not listening.
I knew it existed, but it was not like, oh, I'm going to go listen to Grateful Dead or Allman Brothers and something like that. That was not what I was going to do. But this list, and I just went through and I genuinely just like listened to the intro, listened to like a verse,
Uh-huh.
kind of got a feel for what the groove was, and then listened to the end of the song.
Yeah.
And I was like, because that's all I had time for.
Yeah. You
And I
couldn't
was
even
like,
listen to the whole thing.
No. And I was like, all right, here we go. We're going to do this. And so showed up, and it was one of those things I was very much listening to them. I was not leading as a drummer at that time.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Now I'm very much more confident where I'm like,
Yeah,
all right,
I'm
we're
sure.
going to do this. Here we go. But because I know the songs now.
Yeah. Count them in.
Yeah, I count them in everything. But I just kind of followed what they did
Yeah.
and got through it. It was really interesting. We like took a break, and John Cherry came.
John Cherry, man.
And
The
me and
goat.
him started playing some bossa nova and some Take the A Train together. And I was like, oh, this guy's sick.
He's
What's
so
going
sick,
on?
Man. Gone but not forgotten. He's alive. He's just in Austin.
I know, I miss that guy so much. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, man.
But like, there was that. And then played that gig. I think we also played Whipping Post that gig for the first time.
Yeah.
I never heard Whipping Post. And
Yeah.
I was like, I heard the song. I was like, oh, okay, give me a second. I need to go listen to this one a little more. And I just listened to it. I was like, okay, cool. This is a 6/8. And it was actually like freaking Providence, because I had just practiced the Buddy Rich West Side Story Suite, learning that for my senior recital that got like canceled.
Which one is this again?
Buddy Rich West Side Story Suite. Check that out.
Yeah.
It's really good. And it's a masterclass in like different kinds of jazz playing and things like that. So good. But there's one portion of it that's a 6/8 groove. And so I had to learn how to do that. And I was like, oh, wait. But when I heard Whipping Post, I was like, wait a second. This is just thing. I just learned this. I know how to do this.
Yeah.
And so I was like, all right, cool, sweet. And so I played Whipping Post with them. And after the gig, I like told them, I was like, hey, like if you'll ever need, I knew they had a drummer already. So I was not expecting to ever get a call from them again.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, I was like, this is a one and done. It was fun. I enjoyed it. Had a great time. I was like, hey, if y'all ever need me again to fill in,
holla.
let me know and I'll come. Left that gig. Didn't expect to hear from them again. Got a call from them again. Then got another call.
Yeah.
And then I kept getting more and more and more calls.
The calls kept coming in.
Yeah. Come to find out, they were like, dude, after that gig, we were wanting you to play in our band as like a drummer. And I was like, I'm glad y'all kept calling me, because I had a great time. And then we got to where we are now.
Yeah, I was say, here we are now. Look at you guys go, man. I played 40 watt about 12 fucking times. And
I've loved playing with the Fun Room because they've challenged me. They're really, really, really good players, great soloist. They've challenged me to be better. They've challenged me to like lead the band harder. And
awesome guys.
Yeah, it took me a while to like get my voice in that band.
Yeah, as somebody joined late.
Yeah, I joined late. They'd all known each other. They were all in the same fraternity and everything. I'm just this guy coming in. And I was like, I need to prove my worth, prove myself. I really like stay quiet. But when we started like writing songs more, I started giving more impact, more input, and like, hey, I don't really like this idea. Could we do this? Sometimes I'm pretty harsh and direct and things. So I was like, yeah,
that's good though.
I would be like, yeah, no, I'm not feeling this. Like, can we do this instead? Yada yada yada. But
well, you've managed to, show your worth enough to pretty much be a leader at this point. Like maybe the leader. I think of you as the leader, if not Ike. You know, Ike is like maybe the face of the brand or whatever. But
Ike does a lot of our booking and things of that nature.
I think of you as the musical leader. Then maybe that makes sense, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't write a lot of the harmonies and things like that.
How could you? You know, you're busy.
Yeah, but you know, when we're there on the stage, I'm pretty much call the songs and
that's good.
I'll lead us in and get us going. If things get off,
you guys have got
hit my kick a little harder and be like, "Here is the time."
Here we are. Yeah, everybody does. But just to think, like, I think the first time I would have saw you guys would have been the time we did 40 watt. From there to now to this last 40 watt one, where you guys just absolutely murdered it. I was like, these guys have gotten so good, man. You guys put your heads down and got it done, which I appreciate. And people know y'all's songs, dude. That's crazy. Good for y'all, man.
It feels so good.
Yeah, doesn't it? And they haven't been out long. When did the EP come out? Was it 2 months ago? Something like that?
I don't even think it was 2 months ago. It was April.
I remember at 40 watt, people were singing them, bro. And I was like, let's go. This is hype.
We've been playing all those songs for a good while before
people knew them.
So some people know, especially
real fans.
Fun Room. Yeah, obviously that's
the go-to. Yeah,
they had that song written before I even joined.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. What was it like recording with them? You know, because
So
like
I had been in a recording studio before.
you'd done it. Okay.
I had done it because I had done a recording project with Half-Baked Tofu and everything.
Okay.
And so
I didn't realize that was before. I thought
Yeah.
that was after.
No, that's before. That was the band that I formed when I was an undergrad.
Okay. Did you say it was
At
Barry?
Yeah,
Barry?
my junior undergrad. We can talk about them in a bit.
Yeah, let's finish
solid.
Fun Room, then we'll bounce
Yeah.
over to Half Baked for sure.
But yeah, recording with them was great, and getting in there with Jeff.
Yeah.
At first, it was one of those things. First time you go in the studio, you're just trying to figure out the space and everything. I didn't know Jeff really well at the time, so I was like, I'd worked with a lot of bad sound guys before, so I was like, I really hope this guy's not an ass. I hope he's like chill and things like that.
He's all right.
Hope he doesn't try. He's all right. He's
He's
pretty cool. He's pretty cool.
No, that was the one thing he said after that session. I remember that because I always ask him how his sessions go, and he was like, fucking Scales, man, fucking blew me away. I was like, who? He was like, Scales. He's like, Alex. I was like, oh, Scales. Yeah. That was awesome. Yeah.
But it was great, and it was good to get in there and to lay down stuff because I just got in there and I was giving a lot of, and I think that's when I first started to give a lot more input because I'm going into the studio. I was like, guys, we cannot go in here and waste our time. Like we have to go in, have a plan because like we were trying not to write songs. We did rehearsals beforehand. I was like, let's not write songs while we're in the studio. Because we're paying for our time. Let's get in here and let's know what we want, have them ready to go, and record them.
That's so wise.
That's what we need to do.
Save you a ton of dollars.
Saves you a lot of money. Saves you a lot of time. And if you want to get in there and write songs, there's a place for that. Yeah. Like that's people's prerogative and things like that. I typically don't like doing that because I don't have money for that.
And because like when you play what you just wrote, like it could never be as tight as if you like practiced it for a few weeks. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. And so we just got in there and I laid down the drum tracks and then they recorded everything on top of that.
So you laid down the drum tracks to a click or you did them live?
Fun Room was recorded live. Everything else was to a click.
Okay.
And so I ran through the form. It was just me in there and I just ran through the form in my head with the click.
That's impressive. You didn't have any guide track or anything?
No.
So you just knew. You knew those arrangements. Y'all had been playing them. That's mad impressive. And that was another thing I noted when we were in there, when you were doing your solo stuff. You did like one take to the metronome that was like spot on, but there was like one little thing you wanted to fix. And then you ran it back like all the way through and it was pretty much the same. I was like, damn, he fucking knows these in his head. So like, how do you do that kind of? Is that just like playing them, I guess?
Just playing them.
Yeah.
And
memorization kind of stuff. Yeah.
When you write the part, it makes it a lot easier.
Yeah.
Because you know what you want from it. And so you're like, okay, this is my thing. I know what I want. I've thought about it and chewed on it for a long, long time to the point where it's like I could repeat this over and over and over again. It's
without
trying. Be the same. Yeah, because
was there a lot of changes in there in the studio? Like, were you guys making arrangement changes and stuff? Because I'm under the thought process of like it should be ready when you get in there, like we kind of already talked about. And some people in my band that I really love have been like, we need to get in there and just like take a day and experiment around with it. I'm like, I mean, like that should already be done by the time we get there. Like that should be
go rehearsal space, go to New Cheese, go to Rabbit Hole.
Like we've been playing this live for 3 months. Why would we do it different than we do it live? You know what I'm saying? So,
right.
But
so there wasn't a lot of arrangement things.
Yeah.
When I would go and play through, I'm trying to think. I did a few in one take and a few of them in 2-3 takes.
Okay.
But it was more so like I would play through and I would just do something and I would listen back to it and be like, ooh, I just don't like the way that I don't like that extra little ghost note that I played.
Gotcha.
It was a little too much.
So like through recording it, you're like, oh, I don't like that.
Right.
But you couldn't tell before. Gotcha.
Because listening back to yourself changes a lot.
It does, man. Especially soloed for drums. Yeah.
It changes a lot of like, oh, I thought it sounded this way, but it's not coming across. Because I can I hear things in my head, but whether it comes across when I actually play it, sometimes it doesn't. You know, and listening back to yourself can help you change that.
Yeah.
And so I think it's a great practicing tool. Always record yourself. But
it's very telling.
Yeah.
Very sometimes in ways you don't want to hear.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But that's good.
That's good. Yeah. Just like the bad gigs, same exact thing.
You got to hear those little things you're doing. But that was a lot of what that was.
Gotcha.
It wasn't like form changes. It was more so, oh, I played this part. ooh, okay, maybe I could add something here, or I don't like the way I orchestrated this fill. Let me change this a little bit, whatever. It was like minor things like that.
Little stuff, no huge changes.
Right.
So like for drums too, you guys got to get it because like we're about to build everything around you. Do you know what I'm saying? So like you don't get to go in and like if I don't like my guitar rhythm track, like I can overdub that like the fucking day before we mix it. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But you gotta be happy with it, right?
Yeah.
Is that tough for you to like get one you're really happy with or nah?
It's hard.
Yeah.
It's very hard for me. I will say every single one of the tracks I've ever recorded, I hear something I want to change.
Really?
Yeah.
Just after a while?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Even like going into we're about to put it on and we're about to mix it or whatever, I always hear something that I don't necessarily like.
Gotcha. Yeah.
What I have to tell myself is though, and I've been told this, your first take is typically always your best take.
Really?
Your first take or your second take.
Yeah.
Because you're not really thinking about it as much or the take where you go in and you're like, well, I'm just going to experiment and do stuff and see the way it turns. That's typically also one of your better takes because you're not thinking about it so much.
Yeah.
And you're just like, I'm just going to play, you know? But I always hear like super, super minute things that maybe not your average listeners, definitely not your average listener is going to hear, but like your average even non-drummer might not hear, but like something like, oh, that rim shot, I could tell that there was more stick on that shot than the one before it.
Gotcha.
And so their shots sound different. Or, oh, I hit a little bit too much rim on that shot, or I didn't like the way I hit that crash. Like
that shit'll eat at you, man.
Like
unfortunately,
little things like that.
Yeah.
That you could spend a fucking eternity.
Yeah. Nothing would ever get done if you fixed them all. You know what I mean? Yeah.
You could spend forever.
Interesting.
And so that's what I have to tell myself. Is like, okay, Alex, you're never going to be perfectly happy with all this.
Yeah.
With the skills that you have right now. I understand where I am in my talents and everything. So I know I'm not a perfect studio drummer. So I just have to tell myself, is it in time? Is the feel good? Is the overall take good? Does it work with the song? Does what you play service the music? Yeah. And if all those things apply for me, even if there's like a slight little thing here and there, I'll be like, okay, I need to be okay with this.
You're good with it.
Yeah.
That's a good way to put it, man. Have a little checklist of like, does it, and a lot of times the take itself will just like, it's like, oh, we obviously have to use that one. You know what I mean? Like, the energy and the vibe was so good at the end of it, you just know sometimes.
Yeah.
And that's interesting that you say that about the takes, like 1 and 2 usually being the best, because I feel like I'm not good in the studio yet, because like we'll just go in and we'll do a song like 10 times, you know, and it's like by time 5, I'm like, this is not different. Like these are the same. Like
it's not getting any better.
Yeah, like we're just tired of playing it now. It's like, all right, like it kind of just is what it is to a certain point, you know. And when you're going in there, it's like, all right, this is how it sounds. So that's interesting to hear you say that about takes 1 and 2, which I think is so true, man.
And it's also nice to like do a take, or maybe like let's say you do 3 takes and you're still not happy with it.
Yeah,
take a break, come back to it.
So much,
and then just cold hit it the next time.
Yeah, let me see what you think about this. This is my plan for the next time I go into the studio. I want to treat it more like a practice in the way of like, let's not run any in a row. Because like in the past, I've been like, all right, let's play No Bad Days until we get it, you know. And this time I'm just going like do one song and do the next song, do one song, do the next song, like play like you're practicing, you know. You don't play songs back to back at practice, or at least I don't.
Yeah.
So like maybe that I'm trying to think of like hacks to like in the studio to where it doesn't seem like we just did 6 takes of a song. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, that could work. Honestly, it just depends on your group and how y'all approach the studio.
Totally.
My biggest thing is I always tell the fun run guys, and I tell myself, like, just get in there and do what you do.
Do what we do, yeah.
Do what we do. Like, we played these songs 1,000 times before. We know how to play them. We know these songs like the back of our hands because they come from our own hands.
We've done it,
in our own brains.
We created
it. So just get in there and do it and just play.
I agree.
If you get in there, you overanalyze it and you think about every little thing, it's gonna sound worse. Because you're thinking technically about it and the musical aspect's not gonna come through.
Such a tricky animal. It's like you would think that like you know, we play live all the time. You play 50 shows a year or whatever if you're lucky, and you go in the studio twice a year, and it's like, oh, well, like actually this is something that takes some time to get good at too, you know. I think like you saying mindset usually
it's a mindset thing. It's not necessarily your playing. It's you gotta shift your mind
Yeah. And then like the producer says one thing that just kind of like eats at you. It's like, fuck, does that sound bad? Or, you just like mindset stuff.
I mean, that's another thing that's important too, is like your relationship with your producer.
Yeah.
You got a good relationship with them.
That helps a ton.
I trust Jeff so much this point.
He's my guy.
Where I'm like, I'll play things and I'll record. Like when I was doing my solo album, I would be like, dude, what's your thoughts on this? I would like listen back to it and I'm like, I kind of like it, but like as someone who's hearing this for kind of the first time, what's your thoughts? And I would like trust those opinions a lot because like I really trusted him and what he was hearing and what he was doing.
He's really good at what he does.
Yeah.
And that's so much more important because like we tossed around ideas like going to nicer studios, like Muscle Shoals or something. It's like, I don't want to go there and record with some guy I don't fucking know. Like that's going to be like the studio might sound better maybe, but like I fucking trust Jeff and like want to hang out with him for a day. So like that'll always be better than recording somewhere nicer.
It makes it so much better.
Yeah,
so
agreed. Better. And Jeff's great. I think so too. That's cool that you ask him that kind of stuff. I think that's where, a producer turns into a producer, if that makes sense.
Yeah, because then they're just as much as part of your creative process as you are.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
And so trusting them and getting their opinion on what they're hearing on their end.
Yeah.
Multiple opinions are always better because people hear different things. People focus on different things within the song.
Yeah.
So.
What did you guys work? I agree with all that. What did you guys work on? Like, did you spend a lot of time like miking your kit up? Because I feel like drums, like as somebody who's interested in recording too, are like really the toughest thing to capture correctly, I think, in my opinion. Because like you just put a mic on a guitar and you're usually okay, and you just mic your voice, stuff like that. But like a drum set, do you have any interest in like the audio technique of that, or you just like mic me up, let's do this thing?
I don't know a lot of the technical part of it.
Gotcha, cool.
I know enough to get me by on a live gig.
Yeah.
But I will say, I know Jeff has played around with it a little bit. Each time I've come in, he's messed around. Like he knows my kit now, so he knows how to mic it up. But he would mess around with it. And when I was doing my solo stuff, I brought a hammered dulcimer in there for one of my songs, and that was like a new instrument for him. So he was playing around with mic setup a few times with that. But it was, I don't know much about it, but it was more so, again, trusting the producer.
Yeah. That's good to know. I'd wondered how deep you are into like tuning everything and like, oh, this mic needs to be here, that kind of stuff. So that's good.
Yeah, I know how to tune my own drums and do what I want to hear on my drums and the sounds I want to get from that. But when it comes to getting that sound into a mic and into some kind of interface, I trust the producer to set up the mics in such a way that they can do that.
So interesting, man. So, okay, kind of tell me more about, let's talk about the record itself. Like, we talked about you guys making it. I feel like, I believe it's Leaf Song is definitely your moment on the record, right? Isn't that seems like your song kind of, at least the second half of it, man. What was the thought process on that? Because it breaks down there for a minute.
Leaf Song, when I first heard Leaf Song, I got so excited because I was like, there's some Latin feel to this. All right,
vibe,
here we freaking go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say Leaf Song is the one that I'm actually like really featured on.
Is there bongos in the intro or is it congas?
It's congas.
Congas. See,
so on Leaf Song, it's me playing drum set. There's me playing. I'm playing all the percussion congas. There is a clave in the back as well, and I think.
What is the you say clave? Is that how you say it?
It's like a little. It's a little like. It's essentially just like a plastic cowbell, and the clave is the rhythm that I am playing.
Okay.
Clave is also an instrument, but I don't have like physical claves. Are just like big wooden sticks. I don't actually have those.
I know there's one point towards the like middle half end of it, or like towards the end, I guess, where maybe it's just congas overdubbed. But I thought I heard more than one like rhythm going on. Is that what all went into that? You know what I mean? Like we're gonna have a huge conga breakdown, or like what's the plan?
So what I did is I went in there knowing the form of the song and knowing what I wanted to do at the end, because I know I wanted to do that vamp. And so I recorded drum set first, and then I recorded congas over that. Okay. And the congas were supporting what the drum set part was doing. And then when you get to the end part of Leaf's song, it was supporting everything else. And so, but the congas also have their own feature as well. So when they need to be featured, they will. But the very, very end of Lee's song, I wanted like a dual solo thing.
Yeah, you start breaking down on both.
And so both instruments start going
Nuts. Yeah.
And that part is just so much fun.
I believe that, man. And like another thing I noted about, I actually wrote this. I like there's like some snare rolls that start back in towards the end that I think are really tasteful. I should have wrote down timestamps. You'd probably know what I'm talking about.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
I think it's when the kick comes back in. Maybe there's a few little snare things that are like, oh, that's dope.
It's when they're talking to each other, the congas and stuff. It's like
yeah. And there's a cymbal that kicks out. I guess it's your ride. It sounds so like fucking buttery, like high frequency, just like pumping. It's sick, man.
I put a sizzle on that.
Did you? So what does that do?
It
like a frequency?
It's like a bunch of metal beads.
Okay.
That's similar, right? So when you hit it, it gets like a sound, and so it like continues. It allows for your attacks to sustain longer.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's what it was. Then I was curious because I was like, "Yo, that ride cymbal was rocking right there, or whatever it was." You know, it kind of reminds me of like John Mayer or something like that, like Waiting on the World to Change. Like I think that he just has a good ride cymbal sound of most of his stuff. But like, you know what I mean? So that's cool, man. And then any of the other ones, like what were your drum, like any things you note about like When I'm There, any of the other songs? Like, I mean, it seems like you're holding it down on most of them, but Leaf Song definitely feels like your moment kind of.
Yeah, Leaf Song was definitely the moment song. I love that song a lot. All the other ones, I love all the other ones as well. Mm-hmm. And they're all like super, every single drum part on that track is very different.
Yeah.
And again, when I was writing those drum parts, it was all about servicing what they sent me.
Yeah.
I wanted to enhance it. I didn't want to do anything that took away or covered up something else. I wanted to make sure I had the same feel, so that was a lot of that.
Yeah, I don't think there's a single spot on there where I was like, oh, you overplayed there, honestly, because like a few of them start with just like rim shot stuff, right? I feel like Hopefully Floating is like maybe starts with just snare rim shots for a little while, or am I tripping? One of them does, maybe.
Yeah, one of them I'm just playing hi-hat and rim clicks, and then Fire's Out. There's like a cymbal part that starts in the beginning, and when the drum set actually comes in, there's no like straight backbeat. It's very just like that sort of stuff. Just kind of like it's soloistic style playing.
You're a big fan of like adding the percussion stuff, which I'm a big fan of. Like I like tambourines and like shakers and shit. I don't know if you're into that. Is there any tambourine on here?
There is not a single.
There's not. You don't like tambourines?
No, I do.
Yeah,
but I'm a big thing of like I like adding percussion when it makes sense.
Gotcha.
If a song doesn't need it, then I won't add it.
Makes so much sense. I like that a lot. Yeah.
Leaf Song was one of those songs I was like, it needed it.
It needed it. It's obvious. Yeah.
It needed it.
It just works so well.
It worked very, very well. Light percussion. But if a song doesn't need it, then I won't add it.
That makes sense, man. Well, that's awesome, dude. I love that. I'm a big fan of the whole record. I think they're all great. I listened to them all today, and it was nice.
Thank you.
It's a very consistent project. You know what I mean? There's no misses, so that's great.
We're very pleased with that.
I love to hear it, man. Let's move on to Half Baked Tofu. Kind of tell me about how this started. You've mentioned it a few times. I know you guys are from all different places, so tell me about that.
So Half Baked Tofu started at Berry College in the jazz band.
Okay. And where is Berry College?
Rome, Georgia.
Okay. Gotcha.
So it was me on drum set, guy named Clay Duke, who played piano and sang in the jazz band, and the bass player was Clayton Moore. And this was the original 3 Half Baked Tofu.
Yeah.
And what would happen is we would just stay after rehearsal and we would just jam with each other.
Yeah.
And because we just loved playing with each other.
Nice.
And it was just so fun. And then we were like, hey, what if we like do something with this? And so we entered our school's talent show.
Yeah.
And we were like, we literally went in. We were like, we know we're going to win, but like, let's just do it for fun.
Yeah. You guys could play.
Yeah. So we get up there. We played Redbone by Childish Gambino.
Yeah.
Killed it. It was so much fun. And then we literally booked 2 wedding gigs that night.
What?
Yeah. People came up to us. They're like, do you want to play our wedding? And I was like, yeah, we do.
Yeah, for sure.
And so that's when Half Baked Tofu like really started. Like it started to pick up, and we started to play more gigs at Berry. Started to play bar gigs in Rome as well.
40 Watt at some point, right?
40 Watt was later down the line.
Yeah.
But the sucky thing is that was like 2019.
Yeah.
And then COVID hit.
Not the COVID monster.
And so we all go into our little hidey holes.
Yeah.
And during COVID, we all practiced and wrote music.
Yeah.
So we had a Google Drive, and they sent me a bunch of different tracks and demos of things, of songs. And,
ideas.
Yeah, and I started writing drum parts while they were writing all these like melodies and things like that. And we said, all right, are we going to do an album? So we did. And we met at Berry College in the percussion suite, and we recorded like the demos for it. And we worked on it from then out. We met a few other times in different places. The Half Baked Tofu album is done completely in-house. We did all the recording ourselves.
Really?
Yeah. We did all the setup, all the mixing,
miking and everything.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, we didn't do the mixing. We sent the mixing to a friend of ours, but everything mastering was done by us as well.
Sick, dude. That's
everything
impressive.
was done.
Yeah.
And so I think in total we spent maybe like $200 on the whole album.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a record, man.
Something
Good for
crazy
y'all.
cool like that.
Good for y'all.
But then we put out this album, and it was like really coming out of quarantine is where this album was like birthed from. But yeah, they all live in different places. Clay Duke he lives in like North Georgia now.
Is it one in Nashville, right? Or...
Yeah, one's in Tennessee, I think.
Gotcha.
Not Nashville, but that's where. So we ended up adding a guy named Alex later on, Alex Hodges later on, and he did like bass player as well. He did some key stuff and aux percussion and things like that. And so he's the one who lives in Tennessee.
Gotcha.
Clayton Moore lives in Kentucky, our bass player. And so everything we do right now is all via like Google Drive. We send each other tracks, and we do all our individual recording, and we put it all together.
That's wild.
Yeah,
man.
so we've been working on some stuff right now. We're back in big writing mode.
What's the goal for the band? Like, obviously it's not like we're gonna tour every weekend, but it was like we just want to make music together, put some songs out.
Honestly, it's at this point, it's just we want to make music together.
Yeah.
We physically can't gig together.
Yeah.
As much as we want to.
Yeah.
The 40-watt thing was great that
Like,
it worked
that went
out.
well?
Yeah,
Huh?
it worked out well. Granted, we all wish we could have had a rehearsal for that because we didn't have one. We just showed up and played.
That's crazy, man.
And so we all wish we could have had a rehearsal and things like that. And if we were playing together every day, this band would be
Monster.
insane. Because like there's these guys are some of the best musicians I've ever played with. Yeah. They are insane.
Interesting.
Like
man.
so good. Clay Duke's vocals, he's
Monster.
An animal.
And you guys aren't just from like different cities. You guys are like each from a different state.
Yeah, it's insane. But like love playing with them, love making music with them. Yeah. Brilliant musicians, really cool guys. And so everything that we're doing right now is just we want to make music together. And this is the way that we know how to do it.
That's cool. You can do that these days,
right
you know?
It is
just
so
upload it
cool.
into your drive and do it. That's so cool, man. And like, a few years ago, it was not possible. You guys just wouldn't be a band at all. You wouldn't be making any music
would just
together.
stop. But now we're able to still create and do things. And
And what's the ETA on the next stuff you guys are working on? Is there one, or is it just like whenever we finish?
It's whenever we finish. Because right now, I think we so there's one song that we're actually we're doing a joint thing with Fun Room. So Fun Room and Half Baked Tofu are doing a joint song.
That's hype. Collab.
It's doing a collab. Yeah, we want to release that this summer, like late summer.
Oh, sweet.
So that's in the works right now. But everything else, we don't have like a set. Oh, we're gonna do another album.
Yeah,
we're just working on individual songs right now, and we're gonna see what we can do.
Yeah.
And we might just release them as singles. We might do an EP. We don't really know right now.
See where it takes you, kind of.
Yeah. We have no timetable but our own, which is great. And we're not in like, we don't feel
pressure.
rushed or pressure to get anything out. And so we're just like, let's just make music at our own pace. And then when we got enough, then we'll see, okay, what do we want to do with this? Do we want to release just singles? Do we want to go forward and do the full album? What do we want to do?
EP, kind of stuff. And is it the same kind of thing with your solo record, or is there more of a plan on that?
Solo record, there's more of a plan. So there's 5 songs, EP.
That's
songs are all recorded.
Yeah.
Just got to mix them and everything.
No singles? Just drop it?
I will release one single beforehand.
Give us a little teaser.
The single will come out end of this month.
Oh, okay. So it's already ready. That guy's done.
It's ready.
Sweet, man. And what is the artist name going to be? Scales? Alex Scales or something?
Yeah. The artist name will be Alex Scales.
Hell yeah, man.
The single that will be released is called Death of a Songbird.
Let's go, man.
The EP is going to be called Emotions from the Earth.
Emotions from the Earth.
Yeah.
That's hard, bro.
Because a lot of the songs are just come out of like what I felt at a certain time. So, and then From the Earth is something that my percussion director would always say. He's just like, drums are just an instrument from the earth.
I like that.
And so I was like, these are my emotions, and the only way I know how to, not the only way I know how to, but like through my instrument, the way I know how to express them, and it's from the earth. So
from the
that's
earth,
where
man.
that came from.
Dude, that's beautiful. I love that. That's a catchy name too. It sounds like it means something, and it's like your description does mean something. That's awesome, dude. I think that opens some doors up for you for like, I mean, there's no vocals, no guitars, nothing on these, right? Like these are just drums, like
it is
vibing.
Drums. Yeah, there's a pure drum set solo track. There's a Latin conga and bongo track. There's a hammered dulcimer track. That's Death of a Songbird. There's a drum set and conga solo playing with track. And then there's a djembe track as well.
Djembe?
Yeah, it's a
Should I know that?
big African instrument.
Like a round, like one of the big ones?
It's like an hourglass kind of shape.
Okay.
Got a big old head up here. Gives a nice, big, deep. You should look it up.
I can't wait to hear it, dude. See, I feel like this opens doors.
That one's the weirdest song on
the
album.
Let's go.
It was hard to play. I like wrote it and I was like, gosh, I don't even think I realized what I wrote.
I don't know what this is. I think that's good though, because like I just think it's healthy to get ideas out. And I mean, like if you open this floodgate, like I mean, you can go in and do, you know, I'm sure you're writing shit all the time. Like you can go in and do a solo drum thing every 6 months or whenever you wanted to. You know, I just think that's good to get it out there.
Yeah, I wanted to get out there and like put ideas out there, and I was like, I mean, even if it's just like a drum thing, it'd be cool. Even if it's not like the most popular thing in the world.
To it, but dude, he gives a fuck. It's gonna be sick, dude, because nobody's doing that like around here. You know what I mean? That's what I really love about Athens is that Fun Room can do a record like that, and there's nothing that sounds like that right now in this town. You could do your solo drum thing. Nothing sounds like that. Insert any band, you know, Josh Bennett band could be the banjo guy in town and like make really great banjo music, and Convince a Kid can be the synth rock duo, and there's no, you know what I mean? It's not like there's a million of everything. So I think people are going to be stoked when you drop just a drum thing. I think it's going to be cool, man.
I think one thing that I'm going to do with this EP when it's done too is encourage people to sample it and to make.
You need a pack.
And to put tracks with it. And then if they end up doing that, I want to like release it as like.
That'd be sick.
Oh, here's like Alex Scales and
I
don't know, Jameson Tank.
Yeah.
You did something that you said, oh, I love this like thing, so I'm gonna play something with it. I'm gonna write a melody over it.
Because they're in the format of like, I mean, not verse chorus obviously, but like there's a format. Like, when I heard you recording them, like you would go to like what I would call a verse for a little while. If that makes sense.
Especially in like one song's called "In the Pocket," which is just the drum set one. Like there's a very clear A B solo, that sort of stuff, and it'd be easy to sample too.
Dude, that's cool.
So like someone could take that and do something with it if they so feel, and I would love that to happen, and then like release it on there and like.
I think you need to make a sample pack. I think that would be cool.
I've been told that to do that, and I've been like,
I would fuck around with it. Like, I mean, all you have to do is take the stuff that you recorded and like take your kick, give me a kick, you know, sample, and a snare sample. That'd be fucking sick to like have somebody's beats to mess with that you know, it'd be cool. But I'm excited for you, dude. This is really cool. Nobody else is doing it. There's always at least I'm like got my eyes peeled on the scene kind of stuff, and then you can watch the Jam Ham or whatever. There's always one drummer in town that everybody's excited about at one point, and I don't know if you were here in like there was the Sam Groveman era. Do you know Sam Groveman?
I do know Sam Groveman.
Yeah,
I met him back 40 Watt one time. We jammed on a pad together.
Nice guy, man. Nice guy.
Good dude.
There was like an era. I feel like it's like. Maybe like 2016 to 2018 or something where like everybody was stoked about Sam and like he's so good. So like that was cool. And then like maybe like somewhere in there people started getting excited about Sherwin. Everybody's talking about Sherwin when he started playing Kit. And now it's you, man. People talk about you a lot more than you know, man. I hope you know that. So you should be proud of that.
It feels good.
Feels good,
I'm trying to stay humble because I know I'm not the shit. You know, I'm just another idiot out here playing drums.
Who loves it? You love the music though, so it's easy. You know, which I respect. You know, like when you're just absorbed in something, I can tell you are like it's not hard work per se.
Yeah,
right.
I just love it. That's fun.
Great, man. Well, it's been fun playing with you guys the A-Team stuff too, because like I was way out of my depth. I'm like everybody in this band is like 100 times better than me. I'm trying to hang in there. You know, I'm like this is really fucking cool.
No, man, playing with people like that, it always makes you better at the end of the day.
Oh, for sure. I was like, all right, these guys are good. I can't really fuck this up too bad, you know?
Playing with Benji, I'm like, bro, I got to be on my game,
monster,
man.
Bro.
This is insane.
I love hearing y'all play together. It's really cool. Sometimes I'm just out there in the crowd. I'm just listening. I'm like, yeah, it's pretty dope. Like they're locked in. I'm like, they can pretty much play anything, which is sick, man. Yeah. And it's cool because I've never really done anything like that. Like I've always been like like super prepared. Like I want to know the fucking set list. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Always. Like I want to know what we're playing, and like that's why I enjoy it so much. We get in there and we have no idea, man.
Yeah.
Except for like the classics, you know. We do.
You know what songs you're gonna do, but then you throw something else in there and you
try it.
It challenges you. It makes you better. You know.
Yeah, man.
You gotta be able to.
You guys never fall apart either, too. Like there's never like you and Benji they're like it's so solid. I don't know how to describe it. It's like there's very few points, like maybe none, where it's like, oh, we're about to fall apart because like you guys just keep it chugging.
I mean, the second that we feel it, me and Benji are like, all right, hold on, here we go, lock in right now.
2, 3, 4. Yeah. I like
the second
that
we even feel it, we're like, okay, here we go. We need to, because he'll look at me. Yeah. He's got that good feel too. We're like, all right, cool. We know it might fall apart here, so let's make sure that me and you were locked in. So
we're good.
So if somebody else. It's okay. We're good. We're good. We can keep moving forward.
Yes, man. I'm excited about next Friday. We're doing the Clark's thing. I'm kind of stoked about that. After graduation, I feel like some people are going to come through and
oh yeah, people will be bouncing around.
We're playing pretty late. I think we're starting at like 11, and I'm just excited to get because like the last one wasn't our best, like we've been talking about. You know, it's like now we get to have a good one. Like this one might be really nice. You know, you never know. But I'm going to bring in some songs that we can do. I feel like I needed to work on like bringing some new stuff in that we could play, you know, because me and Jeff are kind of in charge of that on the sense of like, oh, somebody's got to know this melody and chords, you know, to push what we have forward. But yeah, dude, I'm excited.
We should use some Machine Gun Kelly.
Dude, I'm down, bro. I dig that shit.
I had a friend of mine. She told me she loved Machine Gun Kelly, and I was like, oh,
you're like,
I didn't expect that from her, but I was like, this is awesome. And I was like, I need to play some Machine Gun Kelly and some of the bands. So
I like some of the pop punk.
I'm gonna do it for her. I'm gonna play some Machine Gun Kelly.
Yeah, tell her Clark's on May 13th.
Yeah,
Scales covers MGK. Can't wait, man. Fucking. What was I gonna say? I was gonna say, I was gonna say something. Oh, I was gonna ask. We're kind of closing up right now because we're at 77 minutes, which is a good while, dude. This has been a good one. Yeah. I was gonna ask you where you kind of want to be as a drummer in the next, like, or as a musician, as a just whoever you want to be in the next like 1 to 3 years. Like, what's your goal for this? You know,
that's honestly really hard for me to say.
Yeah, it's a big question.
Because I mean, I'm in veterinary school, and so. In the next year here, I'm going to be starting clinical rotations and like actually working in the hospital doing things. And so my schedule is going to get a lot slimmer than it is now. I won't have as much free time.
More chaotic.
Yeah. I just want to continue to be better than I was the day before.
That's good.
I want to contribute to the music of Athens in any way that I can, in the ways that I know best how to do. And I want to continue to just better myself as a musician, meet new people, support new people, talk a lot about the things that I find important in drumming and hear from what other people think about it and learn from that. But I just want to be able to contribute to this in any way I can and leave Athens better than how I found it.
That's awesome.
Both with like the people I interact with and with the music, you know?
Dude, that's hype. That's really well put, man. Very well versed. Nice, dude. Have you thought about I think you're already doing that, man. To backtrack a little bit. Yeah, I think people are excited about what you're doing and they're digging it, man. You've been recognized, if that makes you feel better. What was I gonna say about that? I was gonna say you're kind of a content guy too, though. Like you do like the live streams and stuff. Like you're a poster, but you never post any drum stuff, do you? Not really.
I don't.
You just no interest?
I don't have the setup to do it.
Yeah.
I don't have my drum set up in my apartment.
Gotcha. Mic'd up, cameras and all that stuff.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting if you could, though. I bet you'd enjoy it if you got into it.
I would love to do it if I could. I just don't have the means to do it right now.
Gotcha. So. Yeah. You have a lot of interest. I think you like making content though, don't you? A little bit.
Yeah.
I was about to say it seems like you're into it a little bit.
I do. I mean, like I love Marvel, so I have like a whole other Instagram account that's like only like me.
I didn't know that. That's hype,
only
bro.
me talking about Marvel and things like that.
So you're a big movie guy.
Yeah.
Movie buff.
Yeah, I like movies, comics.
Yeah, you like that Batman? That was the one I tuned into. I was like, "Yo, this is dope."
Batman movie. We went hard.
I dug it, bro.
It was so good.
I saw it like 3 times in theaters. I thought it was dope.
It's so good.
Yeah, I'm ready for the next one, man. They're making another one. Yeah, and they've kind of. I tell my buddies, I was like, I feel like this second one could be like really sick. Like they've set the stage for like a really good sequel or whatever. Yeah. But yeah, man, let's kind of close it up. Tell the camera where they can find you on Instagram. Tell them your band Instagrams. I don't know if you're on YouTube or any of that kind of shit, but like whatever. Yeah, tell them where to find you.
So follow me on Instagram. Search Alex Scales. Alex7177 is my handle. In my bio, you can find the Instagram for Half Baked Tofu and Fun Room at half.baked.tofu and at Fun Room Band. Both Half Baked Tofu and Fun Room Band are on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Music. So check out Half Baked Tofu's album Y, and then Good Clean Fun from the Fun Room. Yeah. Check out all his music. I will be releasing my own solo music under Alex Scales by the end of this month. So I'll be promoting that both on my Instagram, and it'll be on Spotify and all those things, YouTube as well. So keep a lookout for that.
That was super well-versed. That might be the most well-versed closing notes ever, because usually I'm like, all right, tell everybody where to find you guys. They're like, I think we're at Jameson.tank.12. That was fucking perfect. You nailed them all right there.
Hey, man.
Look,
trying.
It's what you do.
Got to protect the brand.
I feel like branding 101. I feel like you would be a good podcaster, dude.
I've been told that before.
Bro, you're smart and you're well versed and everything. You should start a podcast, bro. I feel like you would love it. Dude.
It'd be fun. It'd be fun.
And you don't need much gear. Like, this is like a lot for, like, this is if you want to go all the way, like you could do this, but like literally you just need 2 mics, and a camera. Like,
might start a podcast.
I feel like you could do it, man. I'm just saying. You're natural.
Well, thank you.
All right, let's give him a wave for the thumbnail. Give him a little smile. Nice. All right, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. This has been Jameson on the Rocks, episode 80, I think.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, big 80. What else am I going to say about that? Yeah, check the podcast out. Leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify if you don't mind. Give us a subscribe on YouTube at Jameson Tank, where I post all the podcast stuff. Yeah, keep tuning in. Got a bunch of great episodes coming. By the time you hear this one, Scales solo stuff will be coming out pretty soon, I think.
Heck yeah.
So yeah, man. Thanks for coming in, dude. It's a pleasure.
Thanks for having me.
See y'all.
See ya.